Hello friends, today our topic is stress management. Before starting the class, I want to know whether you have any stress on any matter. Do you have any stress regarding your studies? Hope that everybody is okay. And also hope that you can study this topic without further stress. Do you think that stress is a bad thing? Experts opine that stress is good at a certain level. Beyond that, it may make one angry, anxious, nervous, and sometimes depressed. In small quantities, stress is good. It can motivate you and help you to become more energetic and productive. However, too much stress or a strong response to stress can be harmful. In this class, we can study what is stress and how it can be managed. Stress is the physical and psychological responses to the pressures of daily life. Stress is a fact. Wherever we are and whatever we do, we can expect stress. We go to college, making studies, doing our jobs, falling in love, getting married, falling into illness, everywhere we can expect stress. Stress may arise from various reasons or situations. This reason or situation which causes stress is called stressor. Stressor. Stressor is the event, situation or stimulus that makes one stressful. Too much stress may create too many problems. Unless we properly manage the stress, it will definitely manage us. It will create pressure on us. It will make us anxious. It will make us depressed. It will disturb almost all of our physical and mental transactions. Therefore, we should know the stress, its reasons, and we should handle the stress properly. And this process is called stress management. American Psychological Association says that human body is well equipped to handle stress in small quantities, in small doses. But when that stress becomes long term or chronic, it can make serious effects on our body. It can make one feel frustrated, angry, and nervous. Stress is the body's automatic response to any physical or mental demand placed on it. Stress can affect our mental, emotional, and psychological transactions. We usually feel stress when examination date comes nearer, when we are asked to present a seminar in the class, when our family relations are disturbed, when there is some financial crisis, when there is change in our social life, etc. Stress is the way human beings react both physically and mentally to changes, events, and situations. Stress is the response or reaction to the environmental demands and threats. An elaborated definition of stress is like this. Stress is the emotional, cognitive, behavioral, and physiological reactions of a person in response to environmental threats or demands. Different people may respond differently to the same situation. Therefore, the nature and level of stress may be different for different persons. How can we understand that one person is stressed? When one person experiences stress, he may have some physical, mental, or emotional responses. Headache, fatigue, hypertension or high blood pressure, sweating palms, shivering, etc. are some physical responses to stress. Behavioral changes may be seen in some persons. Irritability, deceptive eating patterns such as overeating or undereating, harsh treatment of others, increased smoking, alcohol consumption, etc. may be the behavioral reactions to stress. Some mood swings are happening to some people. Some fall into depression. Some may engage into compulsive shopping when they are stressed. Some others engage into overeating. Stress may affect relationships. It may cause physical problems. Stress may affect productivity at workplace. It may affect energy level and output. Okay, now we realize that stress is a reality. The stress has different levels. These levels are low level stress, moderate or medium or optimum level stress, and high level stress. I may try to explain this with an example. As a student, how do you experience stress? We people, the teachers, usually see three types of students in an examination hall. Normally, students study the topics and prepare well for the examination. They know that it is the examination time and their performance is very crucial. Such students have stress, but they make use of this stress to study well. Because of the stress, they spend some extra time for studies and take some special efforts to score more. This is how the stress is used effectively and positively. We can call this stress as moderate or optimum level stress. Optimum level stress is positive and beneficial. On the other side, there are some other students who find the entire examination process as quite boring. They usually ask the teacher to let them to finish and leave the examination hall 10 minutes after starting the exam. They complete the exam within 10 minutes and spends the remaining time quite restlessly. They spend time looking here and there or even get into a nap. Such students are not at all stressed. Examination is not a matter of concern for them. They pay too little importance to exam. This is why it is said that too little stress is not good. It creates boredom. It makes you indifferent and inactive. Here the level of stress is too little. This is low level stress. Low level stress is not productive. It creates boredom. Now the third type, it is high level stress. The students who are unable to handle the situation because of the stress belong to this category. They get tensed. They experience the bad effects of the stress. Because of the stress, their heart rate increase, feel headache, and sometimes get collapsed and faint in the examination hall. This is the effect of too much stress. It means that high level stress is very bad. It is not good for mental or physical health. In short, too much or too little stress is dangerous. But it is useful at medium level. It is the optimum level of stress. Stress has two phases. One constructive phase and one destructive phase. As we have already seen, there are good and bad stress. If the situation is viewed negatively, it is likely to be felt distressed, oppressed, or out of control. This is bad stress and is called distress. Distress is the more familiar form of stress. When we simply talk about stress, we generally mean distress. The other form results from a positive view of an event or situation. It is called eustress. Eustress is good stress. Eustress can be defined as a positive form of stress having a beneficial effect on health, motivation, and performance. However, it is to be noted that a positive stressor for one person may be a negative stressor for another. For example, when you are asked to present a seminar in the class, some find it stressful, but some others look forward to the presentation and take it as an opportunity. Stress is often a question of perception. How do you look at the event is very important. Therefore, our goal should not be to eliminate all stress, but to eliminate unnecessary part and effectively manage the stress. Okay, from the discussion made so far, we can try to find the nature and features of stress. Stress is the state of tension experienced by individuals when they face extraordinary demands, constraints, or opportunities. Stress can either be positive or be negative. It can be constructive or destructive. The constructive stress is called eustress and the destructive stress is called distress. When we generally talk about stress, we usually mean distress. Another feature is that we cannot completely avoid stress, but we can manage it. Another point, the stress creating situations, events and demands are called stressors. Stress may affect different persons differently. It is very important how the people respond to each situation. The perception is very important. Therefore, we can definitely say that the stress is not always unpleasant. Moderate levels of stress are needed to make us energetic and active. However, the absence of stress may make the man dull and inactive. It creates boredom. Now we can see the sources of stress. From where the stress is generated. Stress may arise from many sources. As already mentioned, these sources are known as stressors. Generally, we can classify the stressors into four categories. They are environmental, social, physiological and mental causes. Environmental causes are related to environment. Pollution, noise, traffic, weather condition, etc. are the environmental causes. Social causes may be social interactions, relationships, family, friends, job, etc. Physiological causes occur due to aging, illness, poor nutrition, lack of exercise, oversleeping, overeating, poor sleeping, etc. Mental causes are those relating to perception, negative thoughts, fear, distrust, self-criticism, etc. In addition to this, our habits, culture, job changes, accidents, peer pressures, etc. may also cause stress. As commerce and management students, our intention is to know, assess and control stress-related issues in an organizational environment. An organization is a place where a number of human beings are performing their roles in various capacities. There may be hundreds and thousands of employees in an organization. All these employees are human beings and everyone is undergoing some stressful situation. Here, the managers have certain roles and responsibilities to reduce stress-related issues. This is meant by stress management in organizations. Organizational stress can be defined as emotional, cognitive, behavioral and physiological responses to the aggressive and harmful aspects of work environment and organizational climate. Thus, organizational stress is the human response to harmful aspects of work. Organizational stress is the human response to the harmful work environment. Organizational stress is the psychological strain or tension resulting from exposure to unusual or demanding situations in an organization. Organizational stress can be considered as the response to organizational stressors in the workplace environment. Organizational stress can be termed as occupational stress, as it is related to the occupation of people. It can also be viewed as job stress or workplace stress. The National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, NIOSH, defined organizational stress as the harmful physical and emotional responses that occur when the requirements of the job do not match the capabilities, resources, and needs of the worker. Carrie Lynn Cooper and Judy Marshall, two professors from Manchester University, have identified 5 categories of stressors in organizations. In 1976, they published an article titled Occupational Sources of Stress in the Journal of Occupational Psychology. As per this article, there are 5 categories of stressors in an organization. They call these workplace stressors. Workplace stressors are: first one, the job. Second one, role in organization. Third one, career development. Fourth one, relationships at workplace. And the last one, organizational structure and climate. The first category is job. Some jobs are really stressful. Here the job itself is acting as a stressor. When too much work is to be completed within a short time, it creates some stress on employee. When job itself is a dangerous one and risky, it acts as a stressor. Job related reasons may be poor physical working conditions, work overload, time pressure, physical dangers of doing a job, etc. Heavy workload, long working hours, uninterested work, etc. may also be the reasons of job stress. Some studies have identified that jobs such as military person, firefighter, airline pilot, police officer, event coordinator, newspaper reporter, etc. are extremely stressful jobs. The second category of stressors is organizational roles. It is about the role and responsibilities of a person in an organization. Some jobs may not be defined properly. Some jobs are not clear regarding authority and responsibilities. In such a situation, the person would be in a confusion. Thus, role ambiguity, role conflict, nature of personal responsibility, etc. Become the stressors under this category. Role ambiguity is the confusion over the job. It is the confusion over the duties and responsibilities. Role ambiguity arises when the duties and expectations placed on the employee are not clear. If an employee is asked to perform a particular duty where the instructions and methods are incomplete and confusing, it is role ambiguity and may cause stress. When there is a lot of uncertainty about job definition or job expectation, people experience role ambiguity. With the recent increase in mergers and acquisitions among major organizations, more and more employees are experiencing job stress as a result of role ambiguity. Role conflict is the other stressor. When an employee is asked to play multiple roles and multiple responsibilities, it may lead to role conflict. Sometimes contradictory demands are placed on the same person from different authorities. Such situations create role conflicts and lead to tension and stress. Role overload may be another stressor in the organizational environment. When the same salesperson is asked to attend 3 customers at the same time, in addition to attending the phone calls and giving answers to all inquiries, he may get confused. He may get stressed. Similar overload is faced by many employees in almost all organizations. This overload is an organizational stressor. On the other side, role underload is also the cause of stress to some other persons. Just imagine the situation of a salesman if there is no customer, no phone calls, no queries. It is quite boring. Third category, organizational stressors are related to career development. This category consists of work-specific stressors like promotion, job security, etc. Promotion, demotion, career opportunities, ambition of an employee in his personal growth and development, etc. are the factors under this category. Next is the relationship matters. This includes poor relations with superiors and subordinates, relationship issues with colleagues, improper delegations, etc. When there are problems in personal relations, of course it will badly affect the performance quality. Some institutions have restricted personal interactions during office hours. Some have put strict rules in making informal communications. Some organizations have prohibited social medias, get-togethers, celebrations, etc. Some other organizations provide short lunch breaks and limited tea breaks. Such steps may affect morale and satisfaction of employees badly. It may lead to stress. Organizational structure and climate are the last category stressors. It describes how the structure of the organization affects the employee. It explains how the organization culture affects employees. In some organizations, the boss may be an autocrat and he makes little discussions with others before making decisions. Communication problems may be the stressor in another organization. Where the employees are not aware of the organizational whereabouts and performance reports, they may get into confusion on what all are going there. Office politics may be another stressor. In some organizations, a particular group of 3 or 4 persons closely related to the boss take all decisions at their will. All these are some examples of bad organizational culture which may lead to stress. All these 5 categories of stressors are visible at different levels in many organizations. In addition to these organizational issues, the employees may have their own personal and family problems. They may have some social or financial issues. When these personal issues are joined with organizational stressors, it results into stress. Persons with lower emotional balance and little tolerance level may get into destructive reactions. Such persons destroy organizational harmony and cordial work environment. Personality of individuals has a direct impact on how the stress affects them. 2 types of personality profiles are there, type A and type B. Type A individuals are extremely competitive and very devoted to work. They have a strong sense of timing and urgency. They are likely to be aggressive, impatient, and very work oriented. It is because of these personality traits, type A persons are more likely to experience stress than type B persons. Type B persons tend to be less competitive and less devoted to their work. They have a weaker sense of timing and urgency. They are not much attached to work and organizational requirements. Because of this, the type B persons are less likely to experience stress in organizations. In addition to personality type, persons usually keep some values, beliefs, and principles in their personal life. They consider this as most important also. Some others keep their religious beliefs as most valuable. As long as such beliefs and values are positive and ethical, the organizations should consider them as important. If there arises any situation against such beliefs and values, the individuals would be hurt and they would fall into dilemma and it would lead to stress. Okay, we could see some organizational stressors which cause stress in work environment. Have you ever thought about the impact of such things? Such organizational or job stress badly affect employee productivity. You know that human resource is the most dynamic factor in any organization, and anything which disturb it would automatically affect the organization very badly. Now we can see the possible effects of job stress. Stress may affect employees with poor concentration, short attention span, mental blocks, and inability to make decisions. Some thrive on pressure. Others get a panic at the slightest pressure and will do anything to avoid stress. Stress can have behavioral, psychological, and medical consequences for individuals. Stress can lead people to engage in harmful behaviors. Some persons become anxious, nervous, and angry over the stress. Some may get depressed, and sometimes the stress may cause aggressive behaviors on the part of employees. Some may become unable to take decisions. Some may show impulsive behavior. Others show withdrawal behavior. Absenteeism is the resort of some others. Absenteeism and employee turnover are the usual effects in such organizations. In some aggressive situations, stress may lead to poor mental health and psychological disorders. Whatever may be the personal responses and reactions, it lowers the performance level of employees. It adversely affects the productivity and organizational profitability. It brings down the organizational harmony and team spirit. Consequently, it would badly affect the internal strength and competitiveness of the organization. However, the manager has responsibility to minimize organizational stress and its bad effects. The question is this: how the organizational stress is to be managed. People handle stress in different ways. There are some areas where managers can effectively control organizational stressors. There are several ways in which stress can be handled. Job relocation, job rotation, delegation, etc. are the job-related techniques that can be effectively used by managers in reducing stress. Time management, recreational programs, role analysis technique, etc. are some general strategies that can be effectively used to reduce organizational stress. Stress reduction workshops, supervisor training, healthy work environment, employee assistance program, etc. are also highly effective in stress reduction. Organizations can control stress by maintaining clear and effective disciplinary system in the organization. We can look at these techniques in detail. Job relocation is effectively used by many managers in reducing organizational stress. Job relocation is the rearrangements of work locations of employees with a view to make them more comfortable and relaxed. For example, you are studying in Kerala and stays in the college hostel. Your father is working as bank manager and he is now at New Delhi. Your mother is a teacher at a famous college in Chennai. Your brother is working in Mumbai. You are in Kerala, your brother is in Dubai, mother works at Chennai and father at New Delhi. 4 members of the family are working at 4 different places. Do you think that your mother is happy at Chennai? She cannot be happy without you. Your father cannot be happy at New Delhi as long as his family is scattered all over India. He would have been performed better if he had been with his family. The bank management should realize this fact. The college management should realize the situation and they should allow such persons to live with their family members and work comfortably. Here, job relocation is required to make the employee comfortable. Job relocation is providing convenient and comfortable job locations to employees as much as possible. Job relocation can make the employee more comfortable and relaxed. It increases their productivity. However, it may not work always. The authorities of organizations should know their employees and should provide suitable work locations for them. Such considerations can improve employee morale and may create positive attitude. Such job relocations would reduce stress among employees to a great extent. Job rotation is the other technique. It is a management approach where employees are shifted between two or more assignments or jobs at regular intervals of time in order to reduce the monotony of the job. Job rotation is practiced among employees working in the same level or grade. You might have noticed this in banking companies. If there are 4 clerks working in a particular branch of a bank, one is assigned to the cash section, the second at the housing loan section, the third one in deposit section, and the fourth one in gold loan. These jobs are rotated at every 6 months, and thus after 6 months the cashier comes to housing loan, the housing loan clerk is placed at deposits, and the third one is placed at gold loan, etc. Here the job is assigned on rotation basis at regular intervals. Job rotation is a well-planned practice to reduce the boredom of doing the same type of job every day, and also helps to explore the hidden potential of an employee. It brings in a change in the work environment and it refreshes the employees. It also helps management in discovering the talent of employees and determining for what he or she is best at. On the other hand, it gives an individual a chance to gain experience in different fields or operations. After all, this brings in a change in the nature of work and reduces the stress. Next strategy is delegation. Delegation is the assignment of authority to another person, normally from a manager to a subordinate, to carry out specific activities. It is the process of distributing and entrusting work to another person. Delegation reduces the workload and shares the burden to a great extent. When the general manager delegates some of his duties to the assistant manager, of course it will be a great relief to the general manager. Unless he delegates his duties, the general manager needs to bear all the risks and responsibilities of the work alone. It creates a stressful environment. If some of the works are delegated to others, the general manager gets some relief. It reduces his stress. Another way of coping with stress is time management. Good time management is essential to handle heavy workload without stress. Time management helps to reduce long-term stress by giving direction regarding timings of work schedule and helps in finishing the work in time without stress. As students, we people also require to have time management. We should know how to utilize our time effectively. Some students who waste their time without making any studies find it very difficult to complete the portions at the time of exam. Those students who regularly make their studies by making use of the time effectively can attempt the exam without much stress. Time management helps you to get proper control on your works. It reminds you the priorities and helps you to increase your productivity. Time is the most precious of all resources. We need to manage every second to get the most out of it. We people usually undergo heavy stress due to improper time management. It is a fact that if the topics are not studied on time, on regular basis, it would be a heavy burden at the time of exam. Similarly, in organizations also, unless the works and duties are performed on regular time basis, it aggravates the situation and causes stress. Therefore, time management is necessary to reduce stress. Recreational programs are the other way to reduce stress. Studies reveal that mentally engaging leisure activities can reduce stress and have immediate as well as lasting health benefits. The studies conducted by Professor Matthew Shavatsky of California University shows that leisure activity can provide immediate stress relief and other health benefits. When people engage in leisure activity, they have lower stress levels, better mood, a lower heart rate, and more psychological engagement. That means less boredom. It can help one to avoid unhealthy behaviors. The organizations can arrange celebrations and informal gatherings and pleasure trips to relax and enjoy with friends and family. Such opportunities can reduce stress. It can improve relations. It can improve positive attitude and ensure cordial work environment in organizations. Role analysis technique is the other means to reduce organizational stress. Role analysis is nothing but clearly defining and analyzing the roles and responsibilities of each person in an organization. While discussing the organizational stressors, we could see that role ambiguity and role conflict are the major organizational stressors. It means that most of the job stresses happen due to lack of clarity in role and responsibilities of various duties. The role analysis technique helps both the manager and the employee to analyze the requirements and expectations of a particular job. It analyzes the job, its nature, responsibilities, and the expected levels of performance of the person. Thus, it reduces role ambiguity and gives a clear idea about the job. It provides a better idea regarding the job. It reduces ambiguity and conflict and reduces stress. Stress reduction workshops are the other method adopted by organizations to control stress. In these workshops, eminent resource persons give classes and lectures on stress and its causes. It also gives the employees the basic understanding of the reasons of stress and its consequences. Participants of the workshop or the employees are given materials to help them identify the major sources of stress in their own lives and some strategies for dealing with that stress more effectively. Experts collect feedbacks and provide career counseling to them. These workshops provide tips on time management and provides opportunities to meditation, yoga, etc. Such workshops are also filled with games to improve interpersonal relations and employee cooperation. These workshops provide wide opportunities to enjoy as well as understand and conquer stress in organizational environments. Supervisor training is another strategy to reduce stress in organizational environment. Supervisors are the lower level managerial personnel who are directly interact with employees. The supervisors are given special training on how to deal with employees. Here, supervisors are trained to give better performance appraisals, to listen to employees' problems more effectively, and to communicate job assignments and instructions more clearly. Supervisors can create and maintain better relations with employees. They can easily understand the problems faced by employees. They can also identify the organizational stressors very easily. Well-trained supervisors can do a lot to reduce stress among lower-level employees in an organization. Healthy work environment is the next method to control stress. The management should be able to create and maintain healthy relations and motivating work environments in the organizations. Organization culture and environment should be inspiring and energizing. Such healthy environments can easily handle relationship issues and minor conflicts among personnel. Healthy work environment reduces employee turnover and absenteeism. It can improve team spirit and cooperation. The other program, employee assistance program, it is the another stress reduction technique applied in many organizations. Employee assistance program offer a variety of assistances to employees. These include personal counseling to employees who seek assistance on how to deal with alcohol and drug abuse, handling conflicts at the workplace, dealing with marital and other family problems, relationship issues, etc. Employees can seek help and advices from experts and professionals on how to handle their personal, social, and family issues. The organizations are arranging such employee assistance programs in the organizations. Purpose of such programs is to enable employees to handle stressors within and outside organizational environment. Many organizations have found it very useful and effective method in reducing organizational stress. Okay, so far we have been discussing stress management in organizations. Hope that you could understand the topic. We can meet in the next class with another topic. Thank you.